Hello, good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the 13th Dimension. And I have a very special guest who is celebrating a very important and special day today, which is something very rare for me that I'm able to get. So I am very honored to get such an occasion like this because I probably won't get this with anybody else. So I'm glad to get John to spend an hour with me. Um, but everybody, please welcome my guest tonight. He is the author of the Scareville series and the new book that just came out today, A Blackened Heart, A Blackened Soul. Please welcome John Ward.
Yes. Hey, thank you for having me on today, Jeremy. As always, I'm excited to chat with you and discuss all things spooky today. Looking forward to it.
I am too. This is something that I see this as a rare occasion because usually when somebody releases something on the day of, you cannot get them on a show unless it, like newscast or something like that. But I happen to have you on my little podcast, um, and I'm very excited about this.
Yeah. No, thank you for inviting me on. And because we've been friends for a long time, Jeremy, I wanted to make some time for you to come on your show. And you're right. It is very tough to get authors on release day because there's just so much chaos going on. But I'm happy to be here and happy to chat it up. So
And
excited.
I can imagine that today's a very busy day, so I'm just glad you were able to make the time to do it.
Absolutely. No, I'm excited to be here, and yeah, I'm sure it's going to be pretty busy. And I see Jill Jade just commented, and yes, it's good to see you as well.
Yep, one of the loyal followers of the network. Um, and this is your first time on this show. I know I've had you on Supernatural Talk when you had to deal with more than just me.
Yeah, that was a fun conversation. I know it was me, you, Nick, and a couple others. I can't think of their names off the top of my head. If I saw their faces, I could probably pinpoint the names. But yeah, it was a really good time, and always happy to chat.
Yeah, now we get to have some one on one, so I can really drill you with the hard questions tonight. Um, so the hardest question I'm going to ask you right now, you're going to have to really, really think about this, really, really dig deep, because it's probably going to be the most important thing you're going to talk about today. So for those who will eventually join in the audience, I want you to explain to everybody who in the hell are you?
Well, that's a great question, Jeremy. Realistically, I'm just your average everyday guy from Northeast Ohio, but I know Jeremy from my time in the paranormal field. Been a paranormal investigator for the better part of the last 10 to 12 years or so. I've done a couple documentaries, um, but I have become a horror author over the last few years. Yeah, I think that's pretty good 30,000 foot overview. Up to this point, I mostly wrote middle grade horror, which is similar to Goosebumps. And then as of today, I'm launching my debut adult horror novel, which is called A Blackened Heart, A Blackened Soul. And yeah, it's pretty exciting stuff. I love all the spooky stuff. I love ghosts. I love the paranormal. I love the paranormal field and all the kind people in it. So that's me in a nutshell.
So what got you into wanting to become a writer in the first place?
Great question. So I had always enjoyed writing as a kid and a teenager. I was always told I was very good at it. But once you start getting into high school, pretty much your teachers and your counselors and all that stuff, they don't tell you to pursue your passions. They tell you either got to go to college or get a job. So I really kind of swayed away from writing for a long time and did a little bit of college and went into the workforce and found myself never being truly happy or feeling fulfilled, and I was always feeling burnout, and still dealing with it because I still work my day job. But I went out to a local park one day a few years ago in the fall, and I was just racking my brain on like what can I do that would make me happy. And I know how much of a horror fan I am, but I was standing out on a little boat dock in the middle of the park, and I turn around and I see this library up on the hill that's part of the park, and I had this light bulb moment where I was like, oh man, I can write books, I can write horror, and like what genre within that would make me the happiest. And I thought back to how Goosebumps had made me a big fan of reading and of horror and stuff when I was younger. So that was kind of how it fell into place. I'm like, you know what, I'm going to pursue writing. I'm going to write middle grade horror, and from there the wheels started spinning, and I started creating a series title, and all these ideas for stories popped in my head, and the rest is kind of history. And now I'm kind of branching out to where I'm going to do both my middle grade horror series, which is Scareville, and also doing adult horror as well, which is going to keep me very, very busy. So,
I, I I can imagine. I do have to say, I so far I have read all the Scareville series. It is so hard to say that title for me because when I say it, I keep wanting to say Scoville because of that heat index thing.
yeah,
But some things just don't roll off the tongue easy for me.
right. No, I get that for sure.
But I remember when I read the first books in that series, I read them all inside of a week. I just breezed right through them, and I definitely saw the Goosebumps influence in it. But I have to say, I think your writing is a little more sophisticated than his is.
Yes, thank you very much, and I appreciate you reading all the books, Jeremy. That means a lot. But what I always tell people, I love Goosebumps, I love R.L. Stein, but when I tell people the comparison, typically what I tell them is Scareville is generally more plot driven, meaning there's a little more depth to the stories, and then it's obviously a little bit scarier, still safe for readers of all ages, but yeah, it's definitely more sophisticated, if you will. One of my young readers, she's from Washington, and her mom was these are her words. I'm just paraphrasing, but she told her mom to tell me that she likes my books over Goosebumps because it feels like my books weren't written for idiots, which makes me feel bad because I love Goosebumps, so it makes me feel like I'm an idiot. But yeah, so I think what you're saying with the sophisticated thing, I think a lot of people see that. So yeah,
I don't think your books are written for idiots.
right,
I would say that more. Well, no, I don't want to say that about Goosebumps. Goosebumps, I see being more towards a younger audience than what you target with Scale.
right,
Because they seem more like elementary, and you're hitting like middle school, junior high, high school kids.
for sure, for sure.
Um, but that's not the book that you released today, though. This,
No.
this is an NC-17 book, isn't it?
Yeah, this is an adult horror book. I've got a copy here, and I'll try to get it in the camera as best I can. It's tough with the glares, but it's called A Blackened Heart, A Blackened Soul. Oop, there we go.
That's
And this is my debut adult horror novel. It is a very, very bleak story. It is very heavy. It is a grief horror story mixed with possession horror, and it hits on a lot of very serious topics. And it's inspired by real events that I went through. So I think the fact that it's rooted in such realism from my life and things that people actually go through is what really amps up the horror for a lot of people. Um, so yes, that's the release from today, and all the early reviews have been great. I'm really excited to see what happens with this book in the coming weeks and months.
I'm definitely planning on getting me a copy. I hadn't been able to pre-order a copy due to financial situation on myself, but I will be getting it at some point. Um, I remember a long time ago, before you even started writing for that book, you held a poll for the book title. You had that, and I can't even remember what the other name was.
So the other one was, I think the other title I had for it was Incarnate, which it fits the story. Some people love those little simple one word titles, but in my heart, I knew I wanted a Blackened Heart, a Blackened Soul because it really fits the scope of the story so well. And because I have two parts in the story, part one is a Blackened Heart, part two is a Blackened Soul.
Mhm.
So all of it just kind of culminated to work that way, and it's a unique title no one's ever used before. So there was a lot leaning into that. But I did want to pull people to at least get their input, and Blackened Heart, a Blackened Soul wound up winning very, very close votes on that. So
So, if the other title had won, would you still have written the same story, or would it have been different?
it would have been the same story. But honestly, I think I still would have landed with this title, even if the poll had won there. I don't know. There was just something about the title I picked. It felt right. But I second guessed myself because I had a friend say, "Well, that title sounds kind of emo or whatever," and I was like, "Okay, maybe like I can see what other people think." But
You should see some of the other titles that are floating out there.
yeah, no, I totally get it. But yeah, the poll was, I mean, it was to get a little more understanding of what people would think is a cool title. But at the end of the day, I was still going to have the ultimate call on it. So yeah,
Well, it's definitely one of the more unique titles out there for sure. And it does let you know, hey, this is not going to be, a unicorns and castles and prince is not going to be that kind of story for sure.
no, there's not going to be much comfort in this book at all. So,
Yes. So you said that this comes from personal experiences.
mhm.
Would you feel comfortable about talking about any of those experiences? Because I'm pretty sure you fictionalized it a lot for
Yeah,
the
yeah.
stories.
I can touch on a little bit of it. Yeah, I mean, a large part of this story is fictionalized. Part two of the story in the adulthood is where it really starts getting more into the nitty gritty of things I really experienced versus part one. That one's a lot more fictionalized. But it's not just the paranormal stuff. I took a lot of real life inspirations for the story itself, like my hometown, specific historical buildings in my neighborhood that I grew up in, my great grandmother's name, a song that my mother used to dance with me to help me go to sleep. Like, there's a lot of real life stuff that I did incorporate. But in terms of the paranormal stuff, yeah, I mean, there's a substantial amount that's there that I dealt with. I had purchased these dolls. I didn't know they were haunted. They weren't being labeled as haunted, but I bought them because they were creepy. They were cool. And my original plan was that I was going to take these dolls to MadCon, which is a paranormal convention, and I was going to donate them for raffle. And when I got them, something about them just made me keep them. I didn't want to get rid of them. And I think for a long time, I kind of had the veil pulled over my eyes and I didn't see a lot of things until it was pointed out to me that something in this vintage room that I'm currently sitting in was bringing in negative energy. It was causing a lot of chaos, a lot of bad stuff in my life as well as with my ex-wife. That I just wasn't recognizing for the paranormal aspect of it. Because when it comes to ghosties or paranormal or dark energies or what have you in my home, I try not to even acknowledge it as much as possible. But needless to say, those dolls served as a major part of the inspiration. I no longer have them. They are part of Steve Hummel's Archive of the Afterlife Museum in West Virginia, which is currently closed. I won't speculate to whether or not those dolls had anything to do with the misfortune Steve's been having, but they're bad news. So they served as a major inspiration, and then I took different bits and pieces from investigations that I did as some of the framework for the story as well, like experiences I had at investigations or dreams slash nightmares I had. I brought those into the story. I'm trying to think if there's something else I was going to say, and I can't remember what it was off the top of my head. Um, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of real stuff in there, even though a lot of it is fabricated. Um, a lot of my framework when it came to how I was going to construct the story was, okay, well, this situation happened. What if X had happened instead of Y? What would that have looked like? And then I used that formula to kind of build this thing out. So,
I just put a link to the Amazon for the book for people to click on. Looking at this thing, you you're already at number seven on the Amazon list. You're at number seven on American horror, number 18 on psychological horror, and 159th in horror, occult, and supernatural.
yep,
So it's pretty good.
it's doing pretty good. I mean, those rankings update like every few hours, so it's really hard to keep up with it. But I know it did hit number one in psychological horror at one point or in time or another. I don't know. My publisher's paying closer attention to it than I am. I'm more focused on responding to people that are sharing posts or reviews and commenting on social media, and just making sure I thank everybody that is helping spread the word on it. So
Did you have to work today?
yes and no. I was supposed to do more work than what I did, but it's cold, dreary day here in Ohio. I do construction sales as my day job, and there's just not much going on when it's 10 degrees with the wind chill. So I kind of chilled at home and kept my phone on for any incoming calls or emails, and the rest of the day was spent focused on social media. So yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering what your day job was.
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing different odds and ends sale jobs for the last 10 to 12 years. I'm definitely burnout on selling products that I don't care about. Obviously, I love selling my books, but um,
You're sleep.
I I just I don't know. It's a job. It's not a career. I'll say that much.
I can more than relate to you on that one myself. So yeah, already we got some pretty good editorial reviews on here. A lot of 5 stars. Let's see, you are already averaging out at 5 stars even in customer reviews. So you're doing real good there. Uh,
Yeah,
one person
it's.
was asking, "Can I give more than 5 stars?" if
Oh,
only
did they? That's funny.
if only that was possible. Well, they must be thinking about wrestling because this one editor he does these 5 star reviews on
Hmm.
wrestling matches, and then all of a sudden now we're seeing 7, 8, and 9 stars, and we're thinking, "Holy cow! Where in the hell is he coming up with this?"
That's hysterical. No, I've when it comes to books, I've seen people call them 6 star reviews. Sometimes, if it's like above and beyond anything they could have ever expected, like I've seen those a few times. It's not common, but yeah, the early reviews have been great, which is super exciting because I was really nervous coming from middle grade to adult horror and whether people would take it serious, if they would like it, all this stuff, and all these early reviews have really helped build my confidence in the story. So
So with that, because you had already established yourself in middle grade horror, did anybody try to talk you into doing a pen name for the adult books?
no, I nobody ever tried to convince me of that. I actually was strongly considering it for myself, but there's another indie horror author. His name is Devin Cabrera. I was chatting with him about it, and he more or less just told me, I forget who he was referencing, but it was another like big, like upper echelon type horror author that he had read a quote from or something like that. I don't remember what it was, but basically he was like, "Hey, you've already built your name up for Scareville. Like, take advantage of people recognizing your name even a little bit, and use that to your advantage with this. Keep it the same. Don't change it." So I've done my best to insulate my younger fans and make sure it's clear that this is not a kid-friendly horror book. I'm sure there's going to be a few trickle downs that people still buy it for their kids. I hope not.
Just looking at
Uh,
the cover of it tells me this is not something that a kid should be reading.
right. And it's not something I would ever recommend a kid to read. But there are some parents out there that have their kids reading Stephen King at 8, 9, and 10 years old. I personally, if I was a parent, wouldn't allow that. But I don't judge anyone for making those choices. But that's there. I mean, there's just certain things I wouldn't want my child at a young age being exposed to. So I will always throw caution to the wind. I always tell parents like, "Hey, you're free to make your own judgment calls." I personally would not recommend this for a younger reader. But
It's funny. It's funny that you said that because when I was 10 years old, my school was doing like a reading contest thing where if you read so many pages, you got so many points that would lead up to getting a free pizza. Uh,
ooh,
and one of the kids in my school, I think this kid was 10 years old, might have been 11, read it by Stephen King. That was my first introduction to his name. Period, because that title, it really stood out. Then I found out what it was about. I was like, holy cow!
yeah, that would be a rough book for kids, especially towards the end. I know there's one specific graphic scene in the sewer. I haven't read it, but I've heard a lot, and obviously I've seen the movies. But there's a graphic scene in the sewer at the end of the book that I could not allow my child to read that. Oh my lord!
Yeah. Well, actually, two. Um,
Oh
there's two of them. I'm guessing that what you're thinking of is referred to as the sewer scene.
yes, yeah, with the female character.
That that one is actually the more tame of the other part that's in this book.
Really
Yeah.
interesting.
Well, let's put it this way. There's a lot of homosexuality in this book.
Which that's fine. I don't have, but as far as having kids read it, like, ugh, that's tough. That's a tough call, but it's always at parents' discretion for sure. So,
Yeah, but what really gets me is people out there that are saying Stephen King is a pedophile
mm,
because that one scene. I'm like, shut up.
no, no. I mean, at the end of the day, people need to understand. We're generally most authors aren't writing themselves like this is it's a work of fiction and
Right.
our imaginations. Which, yeah, I mean, it goes to dark places. It's horror. It's supposed to make you uncomfortable and upset, which Stephen King is obviously one of the kings of doing that.
Yeah. And what people don't understand is that scene is actually very vital to the story as a whole. Um, and speaking of which, when you were talking about somebody saying using the pen names, you talked about some of the big, like Stephen King himself had used three pen names.
Yep.
Dean Koontz had like 20 of them. Well, I'm thinking, how do you keep all that straight even
I
back then?
couldn't. In this day and age, too, it's so much tougher because of social media and everything, and all these author events that are going on. Like, it would be so hard unless you start off with a pen name. It would be really hard to maintain that after. If you've already published something and people know you, if you publish something under a pen name and you go to an event, they're gonna be like, "Hey, I know you from this book," and it would just be very hard to pull off these days unless you start with a pen name and that sort of thing. But
Yeah. Um, Personally, I would discourage from having a pen name unless it's a real personal choice or like you there are safety reasons behind it. Then I can see that.
oh, for sure, yeah. I love people and I always give people the benefit of the doubt, but there are some creeps out there. So I definitely understand the need for it.
Yeah, I actually found a creep on my page a couple days ago from a post 2 years ago.
Oh,
I
jeez.
never even knew it was there. Somebody was accusing me of doing something sexually. I'm like, what the hell is this?
Mm.
So I reported. I couldn't get to the profile. This person had blocked me apparently,
Oh,
or
jeez.
had deactivated it, but the profile name and picture were still there. So I just reported it, deleted it, and did away with it. I
That's good
just
though.
can't believe that it had been there for 2 years and I never even saw it.
Jeez.
Yeah.
it's kind of wild. That kind of stuff seems to be happening more and more often. But
Oh, I know. The accusations in every aspect of life just seem to flow freely.
yep.
Uh, and people are thinking that there would be no repercussions from it.
Oh yeah. Yep. But it
Oh,
is starting to come back around. I think people are finally pulling their heads out of the sand a little bit and realizing there needs to be a little more due process before firing up the torches and pitchforks and all that stuff.
yeah. We're not looking for another Frankenstein here.
But hey, Tom, I see you're in there. What's up, buddy?
Yeah, we had Tom. I know Corey said hi. Somebody, Mike Broken from
Okay.
Twitch. That's the first time I got a comment from Twitch that wasn't a spam thing. Hey,
Hey, there we go.
money, click on this, and it, it gets some ridiculous comments sometimes.
Oh, I totally believe it.
So for Blackened Heart and Blackened Soul, is this something that you think that may warrant a second book, or is this a one and done standalone story?
This one's going to be a one and done standalone story. Yeah, it's going to stand on its own 2 feet for a long time, and yeah, it's going to be a standalone. But I do have plans to write other adult horror novels in the future.
That's good. And I do know that you have at least one more Scareville sent into the editor.
Yeah, so I've got my ninth Scareville book with the editors of Crystal Lake Publishing now. Book 10's already written, and it's just kind of waiting in the chamber for them to finish editing that one, and then I'm going to send them book 10 as well. I did just put in an order, sort of. I emailed the illustrator for the cover for book 9, so hopefully he starts working on that here soon.
And you changed cover artist for this last one here, right?
No.
For the guy.
So it's the same guy. His name's Jorge. I thought I was going to have to because, and I told my publisher this beforehand. I said Jorge is extremely slow at responding to messages and emails, and then they tried emailing him and he wouldn't respond, and then finally he did. And my publisher was like, "Hey, you know what? We like his work. We will work with him. He charges a very reasonable price. Like we want to continue this as long as you can keep him working on it and in contact." So obviously now I'm trying to get book 9's cover beginning to work on now because hopefully by the time he's done with it, I'll be done with the edits and we'll be kind of ready to move forward with launching it and doing all that stuff.
Yeah, because you can see like a running theme with all of the other books. I think I pointed it out to you one time. Something about the eyes. He seems to accentuate the eyes a little bit on some
Yeah,
of these covers, and I don't know if you had to change cover artists, would this next person be able to stay along with the principal design of it?
probably not. Jorge's got his own distinct style. And it's funny because I know there's some adult horror authors that work with him too, and I'm in a bunch of different horror book groups, and every once in a while I'll see an author post a picture of their cover or a reader post a picture of a cover from a book they just read, and I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I'm like, that's a Jorge cover. I can tell just looking at it. And then I usually reach out to the author and be like, hey, do you work with Jorge? And they say yes, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty nice that you can be known for your style. So that's really cool. I think that's good because that is his signature.
For sure. And he just does a really, really good job. And you can just tell by looking at his covers. And one of the cool things about working with an illustrator like that is that it's a completely custom piece. There's no AI involved. He draws it, sketches it, and fills it in with color, and it's a completely unique piece to your book and your story. And it's always really really cool to see it come to life.
Well, I really like his covers because there are a whole bunch of them out there where I look at these covers and they look like shit.
Mm-hmm.
It looked like okay, somebody took a picture and did a very bad Photoshop, put in words on top of it. And it's like, holy cow. And I'm afraid that's what I would end up having to do myself with my own books, but no.
Well,
It,
Jeremy, if you ever need help finding a cover artist, I can recommend you some people, and some of them are more expensive than others, but a lot of them will work on a payment plan. But I will always tell people, authors, when it comes to your books, make sure you get a good cover that catches people's eyes, because that's, regardless of if you want to believe in the judging a book by its cover or not, that's a huge, huge piece of the puzzle. And if you can get a good cover, that's going to attract people pretty naturally. So,
well, yours definitely catches the eye, that's for sure.
for sure.
Because I know that every time I finish one of my books and I put it away, I have I have a sheet where I have all of my titles on there, and I have an idea for what I want the cover to be. So I've got that listed on there.
For sure.
Um, so yeah, eventually I may end up taking you on that offer if I don't get a positive reply from an editor, or not an editor, but an agent.
Absolutely. More than happy to help.
Yeah. Um, so so this book comes out today, um, and I know that you have number 9 in the process of coming out. Is there a tentative time period of when that one is going to be coming out?
I don't know. I know I asked the editor that's working on it back in December what was going on. I know she said there was a couple other stories ahead of mine in the order before she gets to mine. So I'm assuming she's probably working on mine by now, and if not, within the next week or two, then I'll get those edits back, fix it, send it to the next person. They review it, make sure it's good. If not, they send me back some more edits, and then I fix it again. And then usually it's pretty much ready to roll. Um, I would, if I had to guess, I would say book 9 should be launching around April or May, but I don't want to speak on it without hearing from my publisher. But that's where I would estimate, and then I would estimate book 10 probably will be an October or November release. Would be my guess. I know Crystal Lake said they wanted me to try and do 2 Scareville books a year plus an adult horror novel moving forward. But we'll see if I can keep up with that pace. I'm a little ahead of the game right now because I got those 2 Scareville books done ahead of time, but now it hinges on me getting my next adult horror novel done probably in the next 3 or 4 months, 5 months or so.
So do you have an idea what this next adult horror book is going to be?
Uh, yes and no. There's about 3 different story ideas that are kind of battling each other out in my head. But most likely, it's going to be this serial killer, psychological thriller slash horror novel that I've had in my head for a while. But there's other, like a creature feature story in the woods that's been digging away too. It's really tough, but it'll probably be the serial killer story if I'm being quite honest. It'll probably be the next one.
I like that. I like that. Of course, you can always work on 2 books at the same time, or is that something you don't want to try to juggle? Because I know a
For
lot.
me, I can't. Like, my brain is so one track focused when it comes to writing. So unfortunately, like I can't even. Typically, I can't even read a book while I'm writing. So,
Never
if
had
it,
that conversation with you on that.
what's that?
I remember us having that conversation about reading and writing on the same day.
Yeah. For whatever reason, it just I don't know if in my head if I'm reading a book and it obviously my imagination starts painting a picture of what I'm reading. I don't know if it just takes me out of my story that I'm trying to write and what's in my head for that or not, but I've just never been able to do both. So my brain is very hyper focused on one thing at a time generally.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm sure a lot of that probably has to do with the fact that you have an actual working job too.
Yeah. I would love to be a full time writer, but it takes a long time to get there for most people, for sure.
Oh yeah. Tom is saying he can't wait for the movie to come out.
That would be a dream. I would love for that to happen. I know that there is an agent with Crystal Lake that is shopping it. Now, whether or not anything ever happens with that, I don't know. I don't know what all goes into it, but I wrote out a quote unquote sell sheet for him to be able to pitch it. We'll see what happens. I don't know.
Well, I can definitely see like a little mini series with the Scareville
For
story.
sure.
Because when I read those books, I could visually see everything playing like a 1 hour show.
For sure. I would love for that to happen. That would be awesome.
Yeah, but they're probably going to want about 20 or 30 more from you before they do something like that.
Probably.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you're busy. I know that originally you were planning on doing one book per season for a year.
What's that?
If I remember right, you were originally planning 4 books a year, one for each season when you first started. And then I know that personal life kind of got in the way, and
Yeah, and honestly, four books a year, even self publishing, that's such an insane pace. It would be almost impossible. And now that I know what I know, that would be a very, very, very difficult pace to keep up with. And honestly, I feel like that would push readers away because it's like you're constantly releasing something new and they can't get to other books. So I don't think that's a super realistic goal anymore.
doing a
But
whole bunch of other things too. You were doing the true hustle, doing all of the advertisements, the promotional stuff, and then doing all of the author events that you mentioned earlier.
yep,
So you're doing all of that literally with no help.
for sure. It's a lot of work. I mean, it's a very being a writer is very rewarding, but it's a lot more work than people realize. It's no different than paranormal documentaries. There's a lot more that goes into that with the editing and setting up cameras and doing B-roll, etc. There's a lot more that happens behind the scenes that people don't understand. They see the cool shiny finished product, but there is a ton of work that goes into this stuff.
Yeah, what you see is just like the top 3 inches of the iceberg.
Yeah, that is 100% truthful.
Yeah, believe me, I get it. With some of the other things that I do, not just my own writing, but other things that I do, everything behind the scenes. Like what you see here, again, this is the finished product. You don't know the stuff that I'm doing behind. It's like, well, you got the time. No, I don't. I'm sure that's the same way with you.
Oh, 100%. 100%. But the finished product's always worth it, which is cool.
Yeah. Um, let's switch gears here for a minute. You talked about paranormal documentaries that you have been a part of. Is that something that you're able to talk about?
I mean, yeah, I know. I don't know where the second documentary is, but I did film. There was two documentaries that I had filmed with my former team. It was called Dead Republic Paranormal. It was myself, my ex-wife, Marcus Haug, and Mike Hatcher. We filmed our first one at Wildwood Sanitarium in New York,
Oh, I
which
love that
was
place.
awesome. That's such a great location, and the owners are great. Really, it's one of my favorite spots to go visit, and it's close by to Hinsdale House, which adds even more allure and excitement to be there because you can usually
Yep.
combine them both in a weekend. And then my second documentary I filmed was at a location in Proctor, Vermont called Wilson Castle, which, again,
Oh,
one of a kind place. If you ever get a chance to go to Vermont, highly, highly recommend Wilson Castle. It is
I actually
gorgeous, it is active, it is so cool.
I actually went to Wilson Castle one time. I kept getting rose red vibes, uh,
Okay.
especially from the outside with the way that the designs are, but the inside is just gorgeous.
It's out of this world.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to describe it. I mean, it's just a 30,000 square foot mansion built in the late 1800s. It's beautiful.
It really, and so is the landscape around it. When you're out by, I think it's the side where it has that big ass porch, and you're overlooking this landscape
Hmm.
going down, and then then you cross the main road, and now you're going back up, and you see this one extra long driveway that kind of weaves back and forth. And I remember the day that I was there, somebody was mowing the grass that day.
Yeah.
I do not want that job.
I'll tell you, it's a beautiful area. It's in the heart of the Green Mountains, and it's such a cool place. I can't. I hope to go back there one day. It's a long drive, but it's worth it.
So, with all of the work that you have been putting into with your writing and doing these author events and everything else, do you have time to do any paranormal investigations?
Last year I did not. I'm gonna try to get one or two in this year. I'm hoping. My schedule's pretty jam packed in the summer, which makes it tough. Um, my opportune time is probably going to be early September or mid to late October. Outside of that, my calendar is pretty well booked. I've got like 10 author events already booked this year, and five of them are in between June and July, and then I've got two more in August and another in September. It's getting pretty long jammed for sure.
And is your work being accommodating?
For the most part, I mean, my job is a Monday through Friday, so as long as author events fall on a Saturday, Sunday, it's pretty easy. Sometimes I have to travel on Fridays and take a day of PTO, but for the most part, it's been pretty easy. There is one next month in February that I'm a little concerned about because the first day of the event is on Friday the 27th, and I'm supposed to be down in Columbus, which is 2+ hours away for training for work on the 26th, which is the day I need to be driving there to get to the hotel so I can be there Friday to set up in the morning. Um, so I might have to talk with them about getting a half day and leaving training early. I don't know if they'll go for it. Otherwise, I'm going to be driving there till probably 3 in the morning, so I'll have to come home, swap vehicles, get my books and everything packed. It's yeah. I'm hoping that'll work out. So we'll see.
Basically, drive all night.
Yep.
You're not going to be a pleasant person that next day.
I'll just pump myself full of caffeine and make the best of it. So
Yeah, but you know what? That all goes in with the hustle and bustle of an independent whatever,
yeah, 100%. You got
independent,
to put the work in.
independent anything. So it's very clear. It's very obvious that you are putting in the work, and I just wish so many people would follow that. Um, but you're doing it. So
Doing
yay.
my best. Thank you. I'm doing my best. It is a lot of work, and I just keep telling myself one day it's going to be worth it. So
I would say already it is worth it
for sure, for sure.
because you are enjoying more success than most people are,
Yep.
and that's because you decided basically to bet on yourself and not just wait on an agent to answer the query and say, yeah, let me see it. You
Yeah,
went out there, and that's what got people's attention.
for sure. And I mean, at the end of the day, for any aspiring authors or current authors, you just got to understand what your goals are as an author and figure out the best path for yourself is. I would love to be published by one of the big five publishers, but I know it's tough for first time authors. It's a very low chances that they're going to pick you up. So I've seen other horror authors like Nick Roberts is a prime example that have rose through the ranks of indie horror and built his name up so big that he had an agent actually reach out to him. And it was like a lukewarm conversation versus reaching out cold and hoping for the best. So I'm trying to take a similar path where I just build my name out huge and then hopefully someone just reaches out to me. And that's my goal. So,
Well, I know the name Nick Roberts. He's very popular out there. Even Stephen King is a big fan of his.
yep.
So if you get his attention,
Yeah, for sure.
um, recently you had a chance to meet R.L. Stein.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, that was awesome. I'll tell you what, he at his own I don't know, I think he's like 82 or 86. I can't remember how old he is exactly, but he is still such a charismatic, very funny and personable guy.
Eighty.
He was doing a basically come to home author event in Columbus at the Columbus Metropolitan Library. They named a street after him. All this cool stuff. But tickets were super limited, and I remember they had them posted 2 or 3 months in advance to say, "Hey, R.L. Stein's going to be here this day, and tickets will be available. They're free tickets, mind you. They will go to be able to be ordered at this day on this time." And I remember I'm sitting there with my phone just waiting and waiting, and I managed to get both tickets for his speech as well as to do the meet and greet signing, which is like a lottery ticket. I know that they had, I think there was like 700 or 800 people or whatever that got to be there for the speech, and then there was maybe only 200 out of that 700 or 800 that got to do the meet and greet and signing. Somehow I got both. I heard one of the library workers saying that there was over 30,000 people on the website right when they became available. So it was almost like a lottery that I even got to be there. So it was really cool.
It's like it.
Uh, yeah, and I gave him a copy of my book, and I it was tough because there was people behind me in line, so I couldn't take up too much time. But I gave him a copy of my book. He looked at it. He complimented me on the cover a couple of different times, but I was like so flustered because the library staff was getting flustered. And
Which was it?
anyway, yeah, what?
Which one was it?
I gave him a copy of Food to Die For because it also listed out obviously all the previous titles in the series. I wanted to show him that I've had versatility and continued to write, kind of a thing. So I picked the most recent one.
Okay. Yeah, that clown. I love clowns.
Me too.
Yeah. Um, I was kind of surprised to see that this was supposed to be not exactly an animatronic one, but more like a speaker thing. I'm trying.
Like a statue of one, more or less. And the thing is, so there's two parts of that inspiration. I came up with the idea because there's a local restaurant with a clown mascot, whatever, in my hometown, and there's a window cling with him waving in the window, and you don't really see that clown being advertised anymore. It gave me the idea, like, okay, I'm going to write a clown horror story and wrap it up with a restaurant. But the statue thing came from my grandma. She used to work for Goodyear Commercial Tire, etc., here in Akron. And Goodyear, they have like a private park for their employees to take friends, family, what have you. And they've got all these different clown statues and trash cans made out of clowns and stuff in there. And I just remember seeing that as a kid and thinking it was creepy. So I'm like, man, a clown statue mascot would be super creepy, and I think that would work really cool if it came to life. So that's where that came from.
Well, the one on the cover definitely was creepy for sure. That smile more than anything else. It's like, yeah, I
Yep.
want to get around this clown, especially the one. But what I one of the things that I really enjoyed about that particular book is that you ended it on a true cliffhanger.
Yep.
I think you had only done that once before with Monsters.
Mount Hope.
Yeah, Mount Hope.
Yep.
And I can't even believe I couldn't think of the name Hope because that's my daughter's middle name.
That's all right.
Um, so yeah, I really like how you did the true cliffhanger, where most everything else you kind of tie into a little bow, but with the way that you did this one is you tied it directly into the very first book.
Yep.
Um, and already with the very first book, it's basically like a treasure chest with all these other stories to come out. Literally, because that's
Mm-hmm.
how you described it, like a chest of all these books. Um, and so I can see now you're creating your own little Scareville miniverse.
Yep.
So
And
I'm curious to see. So does that mean Food to Die For? Is that one going to get a like a true sequel to it, or is it just gonna like tie into the others?
I will say it'll be remains to be seen. It won't be necessarily an exact sequel. I will say it is going to tie in. It'll be book 12, and it's going to be Welcome to Scareville 2, and it's going to tie into that book. So obviously, I don't want to give too much away, but Welcome to Scareville kind of leaves people on a cliffhanger with Mr. Enstrom opening a haunted house attraction in North Carolina. So book 12 is going to pick up at that haunted attraction in North Carolina, which is kind of where Food to Die For ends with the kids running through it. So that's where it's going to tie in.
I'm hoping you're planning something special for number 13.
We'll see. We'll see how things go. I could make Welcome to Scareville be number 13, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, because 13 is a special number in our field.
For sure. Absolutely.
Um, I know you kind of you already did this for Got Ghost, but I would definitely love to see something towards like more paranormal investigations.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely have plans for other ghost stories. And I purposely in Got Ghost tried to create my own little conjuring verse or whatever within that story to be able to branch out other stories. So there was a method to that madness too. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, because I remember that one being really creepy, and it was so much fun because you attacked so many different things in that particular book. I was like, John, boy, you did a damn good job on this one because you hit on some of the myths that a lot of people take as truth,
For sure.
and basically really disproved them in a way that even though it's a children's book, you can't ignore it. Oh, and that remind that was another thing that you did on Food to Die For, um, where somebody had said something and automatically the other person just took it as truth and saw that person as guilty and started acting real different and everything.
Yep.
That is a very today. Um, I'm going to call it madness because it
Yes, it
really
is.
is madness the way that it goes. Um, okay, so what is the title of this the net, or are you able to say the title of the net Scareville story?
Yeah, I'm able to say it. The next story, which will be book 9 in the Scareville series, is going to be called "Stay Out of Fort Dread," and
I don't
it'll
know.
be based in Connecticut, but it's inspired by a place here in Ohio called the Ravenna Arsenal. And I remember driving past it as a kid. It's just this massive abandoned military compound. You're driving along this 2-lane highway, and to the left, when you're heading east, you just see this barbed wire fence kind of sheathed behind forestry and stuff. And uh, on a clear sunny day, you can see between the trees and stuff in the background. You see all these military outpost buildings and stuff. And back in the day, they manufactured ammunition, bombs, and all that kind of stuff inside this place. And I remember as a kid and teenager, I found myself wondering, like, oh, what kind of creepy, crazy stuff could be hiding in there? And so that served as inspiration for this story.
Okay, and then do you have you haven't started work on number 11 yet, have you?
Not number 11 yet. No. Probably the next 4 to 6 months will be spent on my next adult horror novel. But
Okay.
um, I do have book 10 written, which I can't go in super in depth on that one because it is a very unique story idea that I don't think has been done yet. But book 11 is going to be finally me tapping into the ventriloquist dummy thing. I've got a I don't
Oh,
know if it's a unique story. I haven't heard of one that's been done this way. It's possible it has. I haven't heard of it, so but it's going to be a ventriloquist dummy story.
the only dummy story that I'm really familiar with that I can think of right offhand is Slappy.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know anything now? I know plenty of movies about dolls like Chucky and Annabelle, but when it comes to an actual ventriloquist dummy, Slappy is the only one that I can think of at the moment.
Yep. Well, I mean, there's that one. There's Dead Silent. I mean, there's been a couple, but I think the actual story
I've
itself,
seen that
and
movie.
I could be wrong. I don't know of any stories that have done the exact plot that I'm looking to do for my dummy story, but it's possible it's been done. I don't think it has been though.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I've never seen Dead Silent, but I do know that title.
It's a good
So
one.
yeah, I'll take a look at that one if I ever get time. So all right, John, we are coming up at the top of the hour. It has been such a blast. I'm going to go ahead and let you go because I know that you're still pretty busy. You're still answering all kinds of messages on social media, which
Yep.
really you need to do so that there is one more question
Yeah.
I do want to ask you. Um, you are the only author that I know does this. And you're always taking pictures of your current word count, what you've done for the day, and things like that, posting them. I don't know of anybody else who does that. So you're kind of like keeping people up to date on your progress on your current work.
Hmm.
Um, is that to help drive the engagement with the readers, or
A little bit, but I've built a lot of friendships with other authors in the community, and obviously there's so much negativity in the world. So if people see me posting progress reports, and other authors do it too, they'll post progress reports as well. But if they see me posting progress reports and I'm making massive leaps on word count and posting about how excited I am about the story, that rubs off on people. I've always preached that positivity spreads positivity and negativity spreads negativity. So I try my best to be positive and keep people updated because I like to try to spread positivity. So,
I like that message. Yeah, we definitely need more of that. Positivity begets positivity.
yep, absolutely.
Okay, John, I am going to end this with the same question that I ask everybody else on this show. Um, this will actually this will actually be the most important thing that you answer. At this moment in time, as you sit there in your chair, what are three things you are grateful for?
Oh, man, that's a tough one. I'm grateful to be alive. That's first and foremost, obviously. I am grateful for my friends and family and for my dog Bo. Many of you will find out why I'm grateful for Bo when you read my adult horror novel. And then lastly, I wish I could say good health, but my health's been kind of up and down for the past year. So I'll just say getting to meet new people. I'm always excited to meet new faces at author events, and yeah, I'm just grateful to be here.
That's awesome. So glad to hear that. All right, John, it has been an absolute pleasure having you on this show. I'll definitely have you on here again. Maybe, uh, let's say in the fall when you have your next scare. No, that one's coming out in the spring. So not in the spring, but in the fall when you have your next tentative Scareville
Yeah,
book come out. See about getting you on here, and then we can talk all about that book and Scareville up to date.
absolutely. I'll be more than happy to hop on and chat again. And thank you to Jill and Tom for hopping on and chatting with us today. I've seen your messages, and thank you guys for tuning in.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, next week I am going to have Catherine Hobson from Fate Magazine Radio and Paranormal Experienced. We are going to be talking about the recent passing of Eric Von Daniken. If you know who he is, you know how supremely influential he is on certain things involving like aliens and UFOs and even religion. He has been highly influential. Definitely. helped my train of thought on a whole lot of things. Blame him. So he just recently passed away a few days ago at the age of 90. Yeah, so he lived a good full life. So I will have Catherine on the show next week. We will talk about him. Meanwhile, I know that some places out there are going to be getting a lot of snow dumped on them. So be careful out there. Be safe if you have to get out. I know we got a shitload of snow today, and then a lot on Wednesday. More sleet than anything else. I'm sure you got that too, didn't you?
Yep. Oh yeah, it's been a fun weather week here in Ohio.
Yeah, and it's at that time. It's usually uh, mid January to mid February is where we get the worst weather of the year.
Yep. Yep.
It's already started. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for playing along with us tonight. Again, John, thank you for being on. And I will see you guys next week. Take care and see you next time.
See you guys. Thanks for having me on, Jeremy.